Hi, I'm Dr. Asha. Welcome to this episode of Real Talk. Today, I want to start with a question. This question might make you do that little nervous laugh, when you know that something is true. But when was the last time that you sat across from someone in the same room and had a full conversation with no phone present? I mean, not a conversation, not a work conversation, not even a conversation where you have the phone face down on the table, or one where you're technically listening to the other person, but kind of also listening to see if a text message or a WhatsApp message came through that you've been waiting for. I mean, a real conversation. Same room, eye contact, everybody being themselves, nothing, no multitasking, nothing like that. Just two people being there fully long enough that their nervous system is saying, it's so good to just be present and be here. We're safe here. For a lot of us, we have to think about it. And that's what I want to talk about today because I've been noticing something. And this has been going on for a while, but I've been really noticing that most of us are acting differently. We're acting even strange. And I don't mean this in a cruel way at all. I know that things are different now in the world, but they always are. They always have been. And I know we've all been through a lot. And it's starting to really show in people's behavior and how we relate to each other. We cancel our plans more often, we avoid more, we overthink simple text, simple communication. We're very tired but wired. We're surrounded by content and overstimulus, and we're starving for that presence. And, we have hundreds of people in our phones, but few of those people would we actually call when life gets a little tender or sensitive. That's the strangest part. We are more reachable now, but harder to truly reach. We can do so much with those phones, and it's amazing. We can send money, we can order dinner, we can order groceries, we can buy a mattress, we can book a doctor's appointment, really be witness to someone else's life completely watching it unfold. It's wherever they are in the world, all without making eye contact with another human being. Is it convenient? Absolutely yes. Is it nice to have those conveniences? Yes, it is. Is it good for our souls? I wonder. That's kind of where I have my question mark. Is it good for our nervous system and for our well-being? That's where it gets interesting because this is not just about feeling lonely, okay? This is not just about everyone being too online or too busy or too much, in their own world that they're very bad at making plans. Our relationships or lack of them are quietly affecting our physical health. It's been shown with medical studies that it affects your stress hormones, the inflammation in your body, your sleep rhythm, your immune system, your heart, your brain, the way you respond to conflict, the way that you recover from these hard days, even how long you live. So today we're going to talk about why connection keeps us alive, why so many of us have gotten a little weird about it, and what the nervous system has to do with all of this and how we can start coming back to each other, coming back to ourselves, coming back to each other without making it complicated. So let's get started. I want to start with the science part of it because when I first read this article, okay, it did not feel like, oh, this is just another wellness fact. It felt like one of those things that makes you put your phone down and stare at the wall for a second and contemplate this. There was a major meta-analysis, which means researchers pulled together findings from large group of studies, okay? This one looked at, I think it was 148 studies or more, and then more than 300,000 people in these studies. And what they found was that people with stronger social relationships had a 50% greater likelihood of survival than people with weaker social ties. 50%. That's huge. I mean, that is not, oh, friendship is nice. It's an option. That's not, oh, community is just a sweet addition to my life. No, that's not your body saying, oh, I was not designed to do this alone. That's your body saying that, hey, we don't do things alone. And when researchers compared loneliness to the social disconnection to other health risks, the impact was in the same neighborhood just as much as smoking up to 15 cigarettes a day. which is huge. I mean, now I know that sounds very dramatic, and those are statistics, and those are the results of studies that they've done. But it sounds like something that we have to think about, because this is not just a vibe, this is public health. This is how we are doing health wise. I do remember former US Surgeon General Vivek Murthy put an entire advisory team together on loneliness and isolation, and he called it a public health epidemic. And one of the things that he said really stayed with me, and it was about, he said that loneliness is like hunger and thirst. It's a signal for your body that your body will send you when something you need for survival is missing. That is a big reframe on how we are socializing. Loneliness is not you being needy. It's not you being weak. It's not you failing at independence. It's a signal. It's a deep down hardcore signal, a necessity that we have for our physical well-being. Just like hunger feels. Hunger tells you that you need food. Thirst tells you that you need something to drink, that you need water. Pain tells you that something needs attention. Loneliness tells you that you need connection and that your connection is low. And we have somehow built a culture that teaches us to treat that signal like a personal embarrassment. I can't tell you how much I've heard this within my own social circles, friends and family included, as well as branching out into my professional life with clients and patients and colleagues. So instead of saying, I'm lonely, we say things like, I've just really been busy lately. I'm in a healing mode right now. I'm focusing on myself. I'm not really a people person anymore, or never was. I'm protecting my peace. And yes, those things may be true. However, are they always true? Sometimes you do need the space. I mean, I'm the first one to tell you that you do need the space. You need that time to rest. Sometimes you're outgrowing certain relationships, and that can feel very uncomfortable. Sometimes peace really does require a smaller social group, a smaller circle. And sometimes, people are pulling at you so much that you just need to have like a pause and just a break to not have to deal with anything. But sometimes, if we're really honest with ourselves, the language of self-protection becomes a beautiful, avoidance cloak, basically. Sometimes I'm protecting my peace really means I've lost tolerance for the normal discomfort of being known. It's amazing. Just think about that. And being known does have discomfort. People will misunderstand you sometimes. They will need things. They will disappoint you. They will not always respond perfectly. They'll have bad days as well, and weird opinions and inconvenient timing. This is all part about being human. This is the human connection. But the alternative is not necessarily peace. The alternative is isolation. Is true isolation. And our bodies know the difference between that. We can tell ourselves very convincingly a story about how fine we are, how everything is going okay. And it doesn't feel good. I will say this. I had a conversation with a friend of mine the other day, and she was talking about how everybody always calls her when they need something. And that's the only time, but they never ask her how she's doing. And so she has taken a conscious distance from them. Now, she is definitely feeling at peace, but she also realizes that she needs to develop and create new connections. So she is really very conscious about who she's connecting with and building new friendships. The body keeps a different kind of record through all this stuff. It knows when you have not been touched with affection in weeks. It knows when nobody has looked you in the eyes and asked you how you really are. It knows when every connection that you had that day came through a screen. It knows when you're performing wellness, but missing the actual sense of belonging. And eventually it does respond to that. So I want to talk about what actually happens in the body, because this is really important for us to realize. When you are chronically lonely or socially disconnected, your nervous system can begin to read the world as less safe. And this is something that happens. You see this with a lot of elderly, for example, because their worlds seem to get smaller and smaller unless they make a conscious effort to reach out and to actually have people to connect with, whether it's people in their same age group or people that are younger than them, it doesn't matter. So if it senses that you are alone, unsupported, and socially threatened, it shifts your body and your nervous system into protection mode. That can look like stress. It can look like irritability. It can look like grumpiness, numbness, anxiety, exhaustion, or I don't feel like doing anything very much these days, because your body is working harder in the background. So we think that we need more rest, we need more isolation, and then we get into this vicious cycle. This is where we need to understand that the nervous system is really at play here. Your nervous system is constantly scanning for cues. Its job is to keep us safe. Am I safe? Am I welcome? Am I alone? Can I rest? Do I need to defend myself? Is this person with me or against me? And a lot of things happen below the conscious thought. So before your mind even says, I feel lonely, your body may already be saying, we are unsupported. Stay alert. You are not safe. Stay alert. And that state of alertness is not meant to be permanent. That's meant to be a very short-lived feeling or state of being, because it helps you respond to danger and then recover. But when loneliness becomes chronic, the body starts to stay in this low-grade stress response, and it can cause you to have trouble thinking clearly. It can cause you to have confusion, and over time, that affects your inflammation, your sleep, your blood pressure, your immune system, your digestion function, your mental health. I mean, the list goes on, and definitely the processes of your brain. And that's why connection is not soft. It's not weak. Connection with each other is regulation. Being with safe people helps teach your body that you can come down now. This is why real conversation can feel like an exhale. You can feel so good after a good conversation. And I mean, whether that is a conversation face to face, which is definitely more enjoyable, or on the phone, or through a screen, because in today's world, we're living all over the place. I mean, most of my direct family lives abroad, lives very distant from me and in different time zones. So for me, I know even connecting with them on a screen can be so good for my nervous system. But it's also very nice to be able to communicate with people in my environment as well and have those real conversations. Laughing with someone gets you really such good medicine in your system. It feels like medicine, actually. That's why being hugged by the right person can make your shoulders just drop before your brain even catches up. And that's your nervous system that's receiving this information. It's not a productivity tip or an advice. You're not alone here. And this information changes your biology. Okay? We spend so much time asking, how do I calm myself down? I can't even tell you how many times I hear that question. And self-regulation really does matter. It really does. But humans are also designed to co-regulate, meaning that our nervous systems help settle each other. That's why, for example, when someone is really calm and easygoing, when you walk into the room that they're in, you just feel that way as well, as opposed to if somebody's really anxious and, irritated, agitated. You kind of feel like on your tippy toes whenever you're around them. You feel also the same thing. A baby learns safety through face and voice and the tone and touch and rhythm of the caregiver. And as adults, we don't outgrow that need for safe connection. We just get better at pretending that we did. And that's the whole thing that we usually do as we get older. We think, oh no, I've got that. We're constantly learning.